Hello everyone, welcome to Code Skwela, and we're back. And so, just a quick recap of what we did from our previous episode is that uh, we have moved our uh, data from each of the individual pages. We moved it into a separate service class. So now, what we have now is uh, it's all located in a single location. Okay. So if you can still remember, we already have this services folder and budget service, and now all of our data is coming from this one class. Okay, so we have painstakingly copy and pasted and cleaned up all of our individual category pages into this single class. So now, yeah, for everyone who just tuned in, uh, we are now what we're trying to do here is that we're trying to replicate an Excel template into a Blazor application. And so uh, from the start we have or I have chosen to do a personal monthly budget Excel template. So if uh, you have no idea what we're trying to do here, is it's this template. It's from an Excel template that we have chosen prior to starting this project. Okay, so we've got most of the part here, sections here, and now what we are going trying to do is that turn this into, instead of like the data has been running all in memory, we will try to use a database. Okay, so I think for this one we'll just start with utilizing SQLite, and then we'll use EF Core as our library, so that we can easily manipulate and store data to our SQLite database. Okay, so yeah, before we continue, please don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel so that you'd get updated with our latest videos. Okay, so yeah, let's continue. So right now, yeah, this is what we have so far. Let's just quickly run this one to see uh, that everything's uh, as they are from last where we left off. Okay, change my, okay. Hmm? Okay, now so we have our home page, which is, we can recall our Excel template is this part. Okay, this part. I think we're missing something. The rest of the pages are the individual categories of budget items, and yeah, we will just add this, I guess, at the part as part of this one. Okay, that would be on the home page. So uh, since right now we only have all of the individual uh, groups or categories of budget items, each as a single page. So yeah, if you have been joining us in this series, we have started from individual pages that has their own data in it, within it, and then the from the, I think that would be part 3, wherein we've moved it into a service, the previous video. And then now we are going to move this into an actual database. We're utilizing EF Core, so that we, we are also trying to make this more compact, wherein we only have one single page, probably like named budget items, wherein you can select the category that you want to display, and then from there on we can have the option to add budget items for each of the category, right? So how do we do that? Let's just stop this for a second here. Okay, let's close all other tabs. All but this. So now we have this budget service class. That's all of the data that contains all of our individual groups. So we what we would need to do now is move this into a database via EF Core. So how do we do that? Let's search up go to our browser here. Let's just combine this into a single. Okay. So let's search for, I totally forgot how to set up EF Core, but core. Okay. Have here already. Okay. So let's search for how do we use EF Core. So let's go to get started or install EF Core. Okay. So CLI, let's go for this NuGet package manager option. Okay. So okay, let's try this. So let's go open our package manager. In the dependencies, let's right click here and then manage NuGet packages. So let's go to browse and then let's search for EF Core. Okay, now we are going to try to use SQLite. So if for those of you who have no idea what SQLite is a database management system, just like any other database systems. So, but this one it's a much more compact one, uh, quite small, quite tiny SQL database. Okay, so this is mostly used for like small uh, applications, and then or if you have like embedded applications, you can also use this as your database. So it's quite supported in uh, several use cases. Okay, like mobile apps, even web applications that use this one, you can still use this one. So yeah, let's just try to straight up this one, SQLite. Okay, so part of that is that it will include core, including these dependencies. Okay, let's install this. I don't know if I have installed the admin so for you to uh, view your SQLite database, you might need to install a SQLite client. So for the one that I have on my system right now, I have DB browser. So that's one small utility you can use or client you can use so you can see your SQLite database. Okay, let's click apply. Okay, let's continue. So now we have this one. So if we have installed it, packet management. Okay, okay. This one says that it's for SQL Server, so we won't be using SQL Server. I just prefer to just use SQLite, so it's much easier. So we don't need to install any SQL Server databases. And let's move to your first EF Core. So you have prerequisites. Okay. This one says SQLite. Okay. So uh, for those of you who have no to give you an idea, EF Core supports quite several numbers of databases. So if you click on this database providers, we will see that there are quite a lot. It supports quite a lot of databases from the most well-known SQL Server, including SQLite also. Yeah, you have also like cloud-based databases, PostgreSQL, MySQL, yeah, Oracle. So this is quite a lot of providers. Yeah, if your database is not quite known, most probably you can search for a library that uses that database. Okay, So we have that. So now what we need to follow next is creating our model. Okay, let's go back here. I think we have already installed SQLite. It's all good. Let's close this one up. And then, so you need to have a backing model for that. For in EF course case, uh, you have this add models or classes that would be the backing classes for your database tables or equivalent to your database tables. And then you also need to have to set up a DB context, okay, so that you can hook up your classes with your tables. So you have, we'll just try to follow this one. Let's see. We have bring context. Okay. Okay, let's try. Okay. So let's add our context. Okay. Let's go here, add folder, uh, data. Let's add a class. Let's just name it budget text. Okay. Next is we will inherit from DB context. Let's pull this up using EF core namespace. Now, okay, now we have that. Next is you can do is set up our database in our constructor. Okay, so just like this one. So let's add a constructor, and then let's just copy and paste this. Now, configuration wise, it actually depends on what database systems you are using. So each database systems have different set of configurations that you can use. So the let's add this field property. Let's just change the name to budget. Okay. Next up would be overriding the on configuring. Okay. So this is the actual part wherein if core configures connections to your database. Okay. So let's do that. We can just straight up call this one. Let's copy this one. Copy and paste it here. You have already your DB path, which points to this one. Okay. Save this. Then here you have set up your models, or in other terms, you can uh, uh, some call it entity. Okay. So basically with entity you have it's just like typical class, but you have your you have a property that would be set up as your identity property, or the one that uniquely identifies your objects. Okay, in this case you have this blog ID, but with EF core it's not necessary that you name this as blog ID. You can just have it as ID, and then yeah. So for our case, we have our model here, budget item. But the thing is that uh, with this one, this model is sort of like mapped to our uh, views or components itself. So I think it would be much better if we separate out our entities from our model. So basically this implies that this is our view, some sort of a view model. If you're familiar with MVVM or MVC, model view controller, or model view model pattern, so this is what this is what we have ended up with right now as we were transforming or uh, developing or working on this project. Okay, again, if you have any thoughts of me about my statements here, please feel free to correct me or share your thoughts or ideas. Please let me know. Okay, let's add a, let's just add, whoops, let's just add a separate folder. Let's name it entities. We could have, like, we don't know if we'll be having more entities in the future. Let's just add a separate it. Let's add a class. Let's add a class budget item. Okay, then it's just simply just a replication. Let's copy this one. Okay, so we have that. So next is, we only have one model or uh, entity for this one. So let's go back and then let's follow this one, creating database. So there are two options. You can use the CLI. We will be using the Visual Studio uh, method. So we have go to install package manager console. Actually, we can still use the NuGet package manager. Right click on dependencies, and then let's search for core tools. So we have this one. So this allows us to run or perform database management via core using the CLI or the package manager, I mean. So let's just install this one. You see, you have here description EF. Let's just click apply, accept. So EF core tools for the NuGet package manager in VS. So we have these options now: add migration, bundle, all this stuff. So it allows us to migrate our schemas or manage our database via these commands. Okay, so we'll be uh, doing the code first approach for this one. I think we're done. Okay, it's installed. And then let's open our package manager console. Okay, so what we do is add migration initial create, but we have missed something. Okay, so let's see. We have not set up our DB context. So what we could do is that we will add a DB set, property DB set of budget item. So we'll be using the entities, not the model. The model would be like we consider as view model. That, and then let's name this property budget items. Cool. Okay. Anything else that we might have gotten? Figuring. Okay. So now we will try and run add migration initial create. Okay. So let's do that. Let's go here to our package manager, and then let's type add dash my, and then you can press tab to complete our command, and then initial create. It will now start building so that EF core can see what entities or models has been attached to the context, which in this case would be our budget item class. Okay, now Okay, so unable to create DB context of type primary key. Okay, now we missed something. Okay, let's go back to our model or entity, and then we need to add a primary key, just like that. Okay, then so by convention, if you have this kind of property ID, then this will be the one that will be considered as a primary key. So if you have uh, if you are familiar with your uh, database or SQL stuff, so a primary key is what you need so that your records get uniquely identified within your tables. So this is the equivalent of it in class. Okay, let's try running it again. We'll go through the same process of building and then inspecting the classes that you have. Okay, now you have your first migration. So this is what has been generated for you by EF Core. So it would go within migrations folder. Okay, by default. Again, you can change the directory. Depends on what the additional parameters you will add here. Okay. So by this, just leave it as migration. So we have option for create table, and then yeah, we'll set up and create a table named budget items, and then this is the mapping for each of the columns and its type, then category, projected cost, somehow type, wait, I don't know why it's type text, but it's mapped as a decimal type. Yeah. Okay. So now let's go back to our package manager and then run update dash database and then enter. Let's hope now nothing, no problems. Okay, now it said that applying migration done. Okay, now it has created our database. So what or what location was the database created? Let's go back here. Local application data. I'm quite not sure where that one is located. Let's see if it's some located. Is it in? Hmm. Uh, let's move on. Really forgot where this would be located. So local application folder, special folder. DB path would be this one. Okay. Now let's go back. Now we have next is it shows here in the documentation that it shows us how to use uh, EF Core or how to consume EF Core within our code. So first you have to initialize or use this, create a new plugin context, and then from there on, yeah, let's try this one. Okay, let's head and go to our housing page. Where is our housing page? The entities, components, and then pages, and then we have housing. Okay, now we have that here, and then uninitialized, let's call it here. Okay, new plugin context. Let's pull this one. Doesn't seem to see. So much. Plugin context. Ah, supposed to be using dummy. Okay. Uh, context. Right. Cool. Let's try running this one and see where uh, if core or where our initialization code has placed our SQLite database. All right. We have navigate to housing. Okay, now actually we can just go through here. DB path would be okay, it's an app data budget DB. Now we problem would be that if this one could uh not be could not package this application including this database because it's on a separate location. So yeah, we'll work on that later maybe. Okay, so let's just let's copy this. So let's look at this location. Let me see. Let's continue. We can look at the output database path in that folder. Okay, let me look up the folder for that where it's actually located. Let's try that. And use that again. It's here. Search for here we go. Budget.db. Now we can actually inspect this one using the db admin SQLite client. DB browser. So it's named DB browser. So this is what it looks like. You can download this one if you head out to or just search DB browser for SQLite. Then you'll be given this link, SQLitebrowser.org, and you can just download in whatever platform according to your platform. So yeah, simple as that. Let's head back to our browser, then we can open database. Let's check for this location here. It's budget DB, it's open. Okay, let's see. Now we have here 3 tables. Whoop, what happened? Sorry. Let's go back. Uh, budget items though. Now you see that we have here uh, the definition for our budget items table. Why is this mapped as text? It's quite funny. So let's go back. Our budget item entity is decimal, but somehow it's mapped as text here. I'm quite not sure what's going on, but anyways, yeah, this is how we can see our uh, database, SQLite database. Now let's go back here. Let's see if we can do some sort of like initialize our database with those default, I mean, default budget items. Okay, let's see. DB context configuration and initialization. Okay. So I think one option would be is to add another migration that would add our data. Okay, I think I've remembered from my previous project I did that. Okay. Uh Let me quickly revisit. Okay. Give me a sec here. Okay. So what we could do is that uh so what I'm referring to is that seed data that we can add to our application. So see, save data. Don't know if it's been miscellaneous. Can always search seed data. Okay, we have here data seeding EF core. So this is one way of initializing if you have already existing data that we want to add to our database via EF core. What? It's already create. Okay, it's under create model data seeding. So we can follow this one. So okay, so has data. If it has data, then okay, then it's any problem. Okay. Okay, you can actually add it in on model creating method side of it. Okay, there's limitations though. The primary key value needs to be specified even if it's usually generated by the database. It will be used to detect data changes between migrations. Previously seeded data will be removed if the primary key is changed in any way. Therefore, this feature is most useful for static data that's not expected to change outside of migrations. Does not depend on anything else in the database. For example, zip codes. Here we go. So manual migration. So what we can do is use this insert data. This is what I did from my other projects that I've worked on. So we can use this values. Okay. So an array of objects, which values. This one is save execution. Perform data is to use data save changes before the main action logic begins execution. Okay, let's just try this one. This would be much simpler. Okay, let's do that. Let's create a new migration. Here is our, stop this, it's still running. Let's go package manager console. Here, it's clear. Okay, it's that add migration, seed data. So, okay, now we have an empty migration we can use. So we can insert it here, which paste it here, just like that. Then, of course, our table name, we need to adjust budget items, and then the columns would be category, and then projected cost, projected cost, actual cost. Okay, and now here, this is where we add our data. So in our example, array of objects. So and let's do that. First off is, let's go to our budget service. We have here already our data. Just copy and paste this. Let's just try this first. We have housing, different. Let's just do it as a single line. Are using so much space here. That's it. Okay. That's one. Cost 0, 0, 0. Let's do it for the rest. See. And again, I think we're gonna end up with a lot of copy and pasting. Let's just add this. This could take a while again, but just bear with me. Let's remove what we have added. Oh, wait. Totally forgot to commit changes. Ah, it's kind of dumb. Let's just commit. Let's just commit this one. Save. Staged. So that we have something to come back to. This one, what did you do? Added links. Shit category. I'm being sloppy here again, but yeah, just bear with me. Now we have migrations. So let's add we add service. Okay, let's add this service for jet. And jet service. Now we have uh, all of these are shall set up staged. All right, now we can continue. So we have housing. Where we at? So we have phone. Let's just remove this. City. Oh, it's getting dark. Again, stop with the receiver. Let's remove this. Right. Now we have, let's go to entertainment items. 6, 7, 9. This is gonna be a long C. C6. other. Done. Action. 6, 7, 7. Oh, mm, this could be something much better. Housing. Only been through. Okay, what we could do is add this in a loop. What do you think? So I'm thinking let's just loop through all of this. So, uh, let's try doing that. Let's add a dictionary string. 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 So let's head back. This could be much more simpler. Okay, let's do this. See that add sync string that. Swoop. It's wrong. I don't know if this is faster, but I just like doing this way. Okay, so this case, have that. What's this? Collection initialization can be simplified. Really? Oh, ah, yes, indeed. Let's try that. Ah, that's cool. Some of Okay, so now we can do this. Let's, let's go for C string paste that. Okay, are we all good? Something. Okay. Next line is oops. Next line is transportation. Station. Transportation. Now we have next insurance. Next is access next is series Next is savings or investments. Savings or investments. Next is that's gifts and donations. And donations is free. Charity. Charity. Personal care. Finally, we have legal. Legal. Okay. Okay. Finally done. It's complete. How many groups do we have? 1, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Cool. We can just remove these. Let's leave but one. Now, what we do is see and start looping through our data. Then you can insert oops, the and add this. Okay. For the category, we can set E here. We're still missing something. So another for each. Let's do each group. oops, value is, okay, now we can add category.key item. Ooh, so that should work. Okay, let's check our database first. So now this one, let's right click and then browse table. So for now it's empty. And let's try running our migration. So to do that, you simply do update database and run, enter. So let's wait. Hopefully this time it would work. It succeeded. Okay, we have an error. Number of values doesn't match the number of columns. Ah, let be. So, ah, we forgot a column. Okay, so we have, what's the name again? What's the season? Ooh, we might have missed something. The category, we need to add a name. We have a category and then we have the name of the item. Missed something. Okay. Now, okay. So it's just, okay. Let me can do this. Let's just stash this for a minute. Stash this service. Let's undo this for now. Okay. Then let's stash this. Stash all. That. So now we don't have seed data. Yeah. Options. Uh, migration. Let's issue a remove migration. Okay. Okay, that's gone. Then let's modify our entity here. So we need to add a name. Oh, what happened? I like that. We missed this field. Okay. So then let's run this again. Add migration. Add name. Budget item. Okay. Now we have our migration here. This was what was generated. Okay, then let's just update our database so it reflects our changes to our schema. Okay, succeeded. Let's check our database. Let's refresh. And now we have our name field. Okay, should be fine. Is it possible? This is here. That's fine. So now we have that. Then we can add the migration seed data. Let's add another migration seed data. Then let's just copy and paste the one that we just stashed. This one. Okay. Here. That. Okay. So let's try running. See if our migration works. Database. Have an error again. No property map to the column. Specify column. Missing. Hmm. Budget item. Seed data. Up. Okay. It's the name. Let's try again. It's clear. Ooh, seems to have succeeded. Let's check our database. This data. Oh, we have our data. Nice. Seems to work fine. Now the problem is on our display. Our is this possible to edit this one? Modify table. Let's move this. Ah, okay. Here we go. Up, just like that. Okay. It should still work fine. See, now we have our name, category. Okay. E. Okay. Now that we have that, uh, all good there. Now it's time for us to pull this data back into our service. So instead of having all of this, we'll be now utilizing uh, our EF core. So back here, use this. We shouldn't be this here. Let's still use our uh, service. Still using this one. Now let's try pulling with uh, this one. Okay, housing items. Let's change this. So instead we have following one here. So get started. First EF core. See if we can recall. Here, so we have is using blank save. Okay, with that. So we can still use the same thing. So create our context. E dot don't have login context. It's because it's named budget TB context. E dot budget items dot bar. items equal path. Then we can't return this one since the return would be an entity type instead of a view our model. So we have two budget items, right? We have the model for our uh, component page that we will be displaying, and then we have our entities that is actually holding our data. So in this case, we'll just items dot select budget item. Okay, so that we have that. Let's add the name budget item. Uh, this thing is so wrong. It is so wrong. So for this model, it should be as a category, and then it should have a name. Let's add that. Add string. Let's change this to include all of the fields. That name. Actual cost is equal to x that actual cost. Projected cost is equal to x that projected cost. Is that okay? This should work, hopefully. So in our housing, thing still stays the same. Let's try running. Okay, let's navigate to housing. Stop this for a moment. Okay. That's because we listed everything. Which means the to list, straight up to list would mean pulling all of the data. So now what we need to do is filter our data to just include the housing items. Okay. Okay, so now what we do need to do is filter by using the where start category is equal to housing. Save this. Let's refresh. Now you only have housing. Then you have category housing, housing, housing. That's because in our UI we need to, instead of category, we need to use the name dot name. All right, this should fix it. Yep. So we now can pull data from our SQLite database. Oh, cool. Yep. Next up is modify the rest of these. Into each individual category. Okay. Let's just stop this for a second here. Let's copy and paste. Exportation. Loan. This is much. External insurance. Have Access food. Okay. Savings or investments. Is that correct? Savings or investments? That's gifts and donations. We have go. Finally, we have personal care. Is personal care the last one here? Ah, it doesn't matter really. Personal care. Okay. Okay, we've just replaced everything. So now let's try defining each of our pages. Housing, entertainment, transportation, insurance, says savings or investments. That's gifts and donations. Legal. Finally, personal care. Now you may have noticed that we didn't have to change this one, pulling data from this one. We only have to change within our budget service where we are pulling our actual data, which in this case is now coming from a database. Okay, so now let's try running, see if it's still working. Okay, you have housing, entertainment, yep, still loading, transportation loans. Loans is missing. Let's try and check. Ah, it's because it's loan. It should be loans. Okay. Loans. Okay. Insurance. Access, food, savings, pets, gifts and donations, personal care, legal. Nice. Okay, now we can clean this up. We don't need this anymore. So they aren't hard-coded anymore. Now we have an empty constructor. How's that? Nice. Let's refresh, head housing. Yeah. So now the problem, I guess, would be the next thing that we would need to do is updating our uh, database when any of the values here changes, or when we set some values here, it should need to be saved to our database. Okay, so we should be doing that probably in our next episode. So let's just take a break from this one, since we have already consumed like more than an hour already on this one. So in our next episode, we'll be cleaning this one up. So we'll be just having a single page for each of the individual groups, so that it doesn't get as uh, crowded as this one that we have right now. Okay, so I hope you've learned something from this one, and thank you for staying with me for the last hour. And yeah, I hope you have learned something, and hope to see you soon. And yeah, hope you have a good rest of the day. And so yeah, see you soon, everyone, and bye bye.